Who was Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the man who ruled Iran for 35 years? Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader for 35 years, was killed Saturday morning in a joint US-Israeli strike on his Tehran compound. He was 86 years old. His death marks the end of an era that defined modern Iran and reshaped the Middle East. Khamenei was not just a political leader. Under Iran's unique system of governance, he held absolute power.
Nuclear capabilities.
He controlled the military, he appointed judges, he vetoed laws, he decided foreign policy. Every major decision in Iran required his approval, and for more than 3 decades, that approval shaped a nation of 88 million people. From student to supreme leader, Ali Hosseini Khamenei was born on April 19, 1939, in Mashhad, a religious city in northeastern Iran. His family was not wealthy. His father was a low-ranking cleric. Khamenei grew up in modest circumstances, studying Islamic theology in the traditional seminary system known as the Houthis. He was 40 years old when the Islamic Revolution overthrew the Shah in 1979. Unlike Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the revolution's charismatic leader, Khamenei was not a senior religious figure. He was a mid-ranking cleric, respected but not revered. His rise came through politics, not theology. After the revolution, Khamenei held several positions. He served on the Revolutionary Council. He became a member of parliament. In 1981, he was elected president of Iran, a position he held for 2 terms. Then, in June 1989, Ayatollah Khomeini died. The Islamic Republic needed a new supreme leader. The role required someone with religious credentials and political experience. Khamenei had both, though his religious rank was lower than many senior clerics. The Assembly of Experts, a body of 88 religious scholars, selected him anyway. He was 50 years old. He would hold the position for the next 35 years. Consolidating power. Khamenei inherited a system designed to concentrate power in the hands of the supreme leader, but he did not inherit the personal authority that Khamenei had commanded. Khamenei had led the revolution. Khamenei was a marja, a source of emulation, one of Shia Islam's highest religious authorities. Khamenei was not, so he built his power differently. He cultivated loyalty within the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Iran's elite military force. He placed allies in key positions across the government, judiciary, and media. He used patronage networks to reward supporters and punish dissent. Over time, Khamenei transformed the office of supreme leader from a religious position into a political powerhouse. He did not rule through charisma, he ruled through control. The nuclear program. One of Khamenei's most consequential decisions was advancing Iran's nuclear program. The program began under the Shah in the 1970s, but was abandoned after the revolution. Khamenei revived it in the 1990s, framing it as a matter of national sovereignty and technological advancement. Iran insisted the program was for peaceful energy purposes. The United States and Israel accused Iran of pursuing nuclear weapons. The dispute became the defining issue in Iran's relationship with the West. Khamenei repeatedly stated that Iran had no intention of building a nuclear bomb, calling nuclear weapons haram, forbidden under Islamic law. But he refused to dismantle the program. Instead, Iran enriched uranium, built centrifuges, and developed ballistic missiles capable of delivering nuclear payloads. The international community responded with sanctions. Iran's economy suffered. But Khamenei did not back down. He framed the sanctions as a test of Iran's resilience and independence. In 2015, Iran signed the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, with the United States, Britain, France, Germany, Russia, and China. The deal limited Iran's nuclear activities in exchange for sanctions relief. Khamenei approved the agreement reluctantly, describing it as a necessary compromise, but warning against trusting the West. When President Donald Trump withdrew the United States from the deal in 2018 and reimposed sanctions, Khamenei cited it as proof that America could not be trusted. Iran resumed uranium enrichment. The nuclear issue remained unresolved until the strikes that killed Khamenei on Saturday. Regional influence. Khamenei did not limit Iran's ambitions to its borders. He built a network of allied groups across the Middle East, what critics called Iran's axis of resistance. In Lebanon, Iran supported Hezbollah, a Shia militia and political party that became one of the most powerful non-state armed groups in the world. In Syria, Iran backed President Bashar al-Assad during the civil war, sending military advisors and funding militias. In Iraq, Iran supported Shia militias that fought against both ISIS and American forces. In Yemen, Iran provided weapons and training to the Houthi rebels fighting a Saudi-led coalition. Khamenei framed this support as resistance against imperialism and Zionism. His critics described it as exporting revolution and destabilizing the region. Either way, the result was clear. Iran became a regional power capable of projecting influence far beyond its borders. Israel viewed Khamenei's regional strategy as an existential threat. Tehran and Jerusalem had no diplomatic relations. Khamenei referred to Israel as the Zionist regime and called for its eventual disappearance. Israel responded with covert operations, assassinations, and cyber attacks targeting Iran's nuclear scientists and military infrastructure. That conflict reached its peak on Saturday when Israeli jets struck Khamenei's compound in Tehran, crushing dissent. Khamenei's tenure was marked by repeated crackdowns on dissent. Iran experienced multiple waves of protests during his rule. Each time, the response was similar: suppress, arrest, silence. In 2009, millions of Iranians took to the streets following a disputed presidential election. The Green Movement, as it became known, accused the government of rigging the vote in favor of incumbent President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. Protesters chanted, "Where is my vote?" and demanded democratic reforms. Khamenei sided with Ahmadinejad. Security forces arrested thousands. Protesters were beaten, imprisoned, and in some cases killed. The movement was crushed. In 2019, protests erupted over fuel price hikes. The demonstrations spread to more than 100 cities. According to human rights organizations, Iranian security forces killed at least 1,500 people in the crackdown. Khamenei defended the response, describing the protesters as hooligans, manipulated by foreign enemies. In 2022, protests erupted again following the death of Mahsa Amini, a 22-year-old woman who died in police custody after being arrested for allegedly violating hijab rules. The protests, led largely by women and young people, called for an end to mandatory hijab laws and, in some cases, an end to the Islamic Republic itself. Khamenei called the protesters rioters and accused foreign powers of orchestrating the unrest. Security forces responded with lethal force. Hundreds were killed. Thousands were arrested. Then, in January 2026, a severe economic crisis sparked nationwide protests. Reports indicated that thousands were killed in the crackdown. President Trump warned Iran that the United States was locked and loaded and promised to come to the protesters' aid. 6 weeks later, American and Israeli jets struck Iran. The succession question. Khamenei never publicly named a successor. Under Iran's constitution, the Assembly of Experts is responsible for selecting the next supreme leader. But Khamenei's control over the political system meant that his preference carried enormous weight. Speculation focused on several figures. Ibrahim Raisi, Iran's president until his death in a helicopter crash in 2024, had been considered a leading candidate. Mojtaba Khamenei, the supreme leader's son, was rumored to be favored by his father, but lacked public support and religious credentials. Other potential successors included senior clerics within the Assembly of Experts, but none commanded the combination of religious authority, political influence, and military backing that would be necessary to maintain control in a post-Khamenei Iran. Khamenei's sudden death on Saturday created the very scenario Iran's establishment had long feared: a succession crisis in the middle of a war. The final hours. Khamenei had not been seen publicly in the days before the strike. According to Iranian officials, he was moved to a secure location as tensions with the United States escalated. Saturday morning, as Iranians observing Ramadan woke for the pre-dawn meal before fasting, explosions rocked Tehran. The strikes were timed for maximum surprise. It was Shabbat in Israel. It was Ramadan in Iran. It was early morning when most people were home. One of the first targets was Khamenei's compound in central Tehran, near University Street. The compound housed his residence and administrative offices. Satellite imagery captured by Airbus showed multiple structures destroyed. A column of black smoke rose from the site. Iranian officials initially denied Khamenei had been harmed. Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi told NBC News that Khamenei was still alive, as far as I know. But hours later, Iranian